Hey everybody, this is David Hudman. It is Friday, May the 3rd, 2013. Recently in the Alabama gun debate, there has been some bills going through the House and the Senate, and one specifically passed 74 to 27 through the House, and there were some comments from some representatives. Representative Ed Henry, a Republican from Hartselle, Alabama, said the bill is necessary to ensure law-abiding citizens can protect themselves. He went on to say, Alabama is a very conservative state. We believe in the citizens' rights to keep and bear arms. He also said, it's a right to carry your gun, but it's a privilege to conceal it. Now, for someone who claims to be a conservative, I really question that statement, because if our rights come from our Creator, then why does it matter how we choose to display our weapon? Is it concealed, or is it on your hip? Or why does that matter if they come from our Creator? I think it's because he's saying that there are no natural rights, that our rights come from government, and I think that's a very dangerous thought. If our rights don't come from God, then they can change at any time. I think it's also important that we talk about these philosophical ideas to get back to a constitutional mindset. I think it's not just related to the Second Amendment and that right comes from our Creator, but I think it's also about religious freedom. Some people in the Sikh religion believe that they're required by God to carry automatic assault rifles so that they can be ready to defend themselves. Obviously, this isn't like a mainstream view, but I believe they have a right to exercise that religious right if they so desire. They believe that that God requires them to have the most up-to-date, the most relevant defense mechanisms so that they can defend themselves and their families. And I think mainstream religions can exercise this freedom as well, a right to self-defense. You don't have to subscribe to a less mainstream religion to exercise that right. If you believe that God's calling you to do that, it doesn't matter if you're Christian or Sikh or Muslim, you should be able to exercise that right. Although some of the funnier comments from the debate came last week when Representative Pevlin Warren, a Democrat from Tuskegee, said she was concerned about what will happen under the bill. She said, "You are going to have a killing every week." And she's from Tuskegee, so she could have been talking about Tuskegee. I don't know the murder rates there. But I know in Birmingham in 2012, we had 69 murders. That's one every 5.3 days. Now, granted, some of those were actually justified by law enforcement. Or, they said that it was allowed because it was an act of self-defense or something like that. However, there were 77 reported homicides. 59 of those were shootings. That's a shooting one every 6.2 days. This is from a Birmingham wiki website that I'll post the link to. So anyway, her comment that, we're going to have a killing every week. Well, yeah, we might, because we already have a killing every week. If we reduce the number of killings, we might have a killing every week. But as far as the bill goes specifically, this bill passed the House 74 to 27. And this bill is going to change some of the rules about permits, being that they are not required to carry concealed, the permits aren't required to carry concealed in your car as long as the weapon is in a locked box that is out of the reach of the driver and the passenger. Now, I think that doesn't quite go far enough. I think the driver and the passenger should have access to it in case someone tries to break into their car, and you shouldn't have to have a permit to defend yourself. But at least it's a step in the right direction. You don't have to have a permit to carry your gun to the gun range, or to property where it's legal to shoot. So at least that's a step in the right direction. Concealed carry permits will be easier to obtain. Concealed carry permits will last for 5 years instead of just one, and it's also harder for sheriffs to deny a request for concealed carry. And this bill hopes to make Alabama a shall issue state rather than a may issue state. I don't think it's quite to the shall issue point, but I think it's certainly a step in the right direction, and limiting the discretion of sheriffs to deny people concealed carries, I think is certainly a step in the right direction and certainly a step towards liberty. So thank you for watching. That's all for now. Bye-bye.